Okay, so Spaceships Over Glasgow. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
I got it right?
Spaceships Over Glasgow.
Glasgow. Okay.
Yeah.
So the name itself, I was like, okay, this sounds like aliens, but it's also talking about black metal and a one-man project. I was like, all right, this sounds
Yeah.
pretty cool. So where did that name actually come from?
Well, the name is from there's a song I really love, "Take Me Somewhere Nice" by Mogwai,
Oh
and
yeah,
one of the lyric.
Mogwai. Oh
Yeah.
wait, I gotta like save that. I love that song.
Yeah. And one of the lyrics is, "What would you do if you saw spaceships over Glasgow? Would you fear them?" And I
Holy
read
fuck,
that lyric,
dude.
and I was just like, "Huh, spaceships over Glasgow." So when it came time to choose a name for the project, to be honest, like if I went with like a normal sort of like kind of want to be edgy metal band name, it would have kind of been like, okay. But the thing about Spaceships Over Glasgow is that when you say that name, people are like, huh, okay. And that's what I kind of liked about it.
Yeah. Well, it kind of reminds me of like Mogwai itself, like that specific track, "Take Me Somewhere Nice." The album cover,
Yeah.
I remember like being kind of young, man, like 18, and
Oh, yeah.
seeing the cover. I'm like, all right, this seems kind of like edgy and like
Yeah.
depressing.
Yeah.
Let me check this out. And it's just funny, man, because that's a lot of black metal and metal guys. I've never heard them bring up Mogwai. and
Yeah.
they're
Well,
missing
I mean,
out.
obviously I listen to a ton of metal, but hell, I'll listen to anything that sounds good. I mean, I'll admit I probably listen to REM more often than I listen to Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's it needs to be a thing, you know. For me personally, as a writer too, like it's tricky, man, because you want to be involved with this type of music, but at the same time,
Uh huh.
if you're a creator, you need to be distanced in some sort of way, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely have to be distant. So, Blutmond is the first full-length album, fifth overall release, a Canadian one-man band run by multi-instrumentalist Robbie Janzen. So, I wanted to ask, where in Canada are you located?
I'm in Toronto.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I was actually born and raised in the United States in New York City, but I'm a Canadian citizen through my dad,
Okay.
and so and I live right now in Canada for school, and so I used to have on like my profiles I used to say American Canadian, but just to kind of simplify it because the project is located in Canada, I just say Canadian.
Right. No, one of my favorite one-man black metal projects come out of Canada, Unrequited.
Oh, sweet.
Have you heard of them?
What's the name again?
It's UNRQVITED. I probably
I feel like
I probably spelled
that
it
name
wrong.
sounds so familiar. Hold on. Let me actually look
Yeah,
that up on my phone.
he's full time, man. He probably, in my eyes, he started the atmospheric, like depressing black metal
Right.
one man like movement. One of them.
Yeah. 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 I've definitely come across that name before. Even if I haven't listened to it, I'll have to put that on the list.
Yeah. Okay, so that's funny, man. You're only like 2 hours from me. I'm like Niagara Falls, U.S.
Oh, sweet. Oh yeah, I drive through. I drive through Niagara Falls whenever I come up to head back to campus when I'm done visiting my family down in New York.
You drive through freaking U.S. Niagara Falls. Crazy,
Yeah,
man.
it's the border's pretty decent on most days. Definitely a bitch of a drive from New York City to Toronto. It's about 9 hours. You can
Yeah.
do it in one day, but by the end of it, you're like, fuck.
Yeah, I would not want to be driving in New York City. Absolutely not. I've done it once, and I will never do it again.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I still don't even have my license because I would just take the subway and walk everywhere in New
Yeah,
York.
that's the way to do it, man. Or get one of those electric bikes, you know.
Yeah.
But all right, so this project, right? Another thing that caught my eye is the cover art. Like when I opened the email, right? I was like, all right. First, I'm confused about the name. Number one.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that it's black metal. But the cover art, it's interesting because it looks like something you drew. But I feel like there's
it is.
yeah, I feel like there's something either really funny about it or super deep about it.
Well, when I was thinking, because of course, like I do all, because I mean, so like, artwork wise, for the last single I did, I paid a guy on Fiverr to do it. I'm forgetting his name right now, unfortunately, and he did a good job on that.
Yeah.
But for this one, I was like, okay, I want to do the art on this, just because, not to sound like a megalomaniac, but this is my project. I kind of like to have full control over all assets.
Yeah.
And the artwork, I had this idea in my head of like a red moon and a night sky. And that image sort of stuck with me for a bit. And I was like, okay, there's something I could do with that. And
Yeah.
art, I did it on a Pixlr, the photo editing website.
Yeah.
And I decided to go somewhat minimalist with that because, I mean, I will admit I am far from a competent graphic designer, so that's as good as I could do.
Right.
And yeah. But yeah, I'm happy with how the art turned out, definitely.
Yeah. No, I think the biggest thing with art in general, there's a few misconceptions, but to me, anytime I talk to people about their projects, I try to weave out, are they being authentic to themselves, number one?
Right.
And are they making the art for somebody else, or are they making it for themselves? And that's what that's what really separates the good projects from the the copycat, like copy paste shit,
Yeah.
It just comes from a different place.
I think I'm making the art that's true to myself. This is the stuff I want to make. Yeah.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, it seems like you're true to your art, whatever you
thank you, man.
whatever you whatever you feel, it sounds like it's coming through, which is awesome. I wanted to talk to you about Fiverr, man, now that you brought it up.
Oh, sure thing.
Okay. And this is like a loaded topic for me because within the last couple months, dude, I've really come to realize the power behind that website, especially in the realm of being a creator,
Right.
There are obviously some downsides because they're marketing a product now, but at the same time, you now have a network of extremely talented and budget friendly people to work with,
Totally.
What are your overall thoughts about Fiverr with art?
I think it's definitely, I mean, for artists, I think it's definitely a great way to make some income, especially since, obviously, the majority of people aren't going to be able to do it as their sole source of income. Like most of them work day jobs. So I think what Fiverr does, it provides a good way for them to like do it, on the side, do what they love and still be able to make some additional cash from that. I think that's very useful. And I also, again, as a consumer too, like for the last single I did, when I was going through Fiverr looking for artists, I was able to find, I was able to filter to like the price range, since obviously I wanted the art to look good, but I was also a broke university student. I couldn't exactly afford to like shell out for like a Vincent Locke, the guy of Cannibal Corpse, or
Of course,
stuff
of
like
course,
that.
yeah.
So I found a guy to do it for about 60 Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was very useful. So yeah, I think it can be useful both for artists and consumers, definitely. And yeah, well, it definitely does commercialize art. At the same time, well, you do kind of have to do that.
No, of course. Like, here's the thing, man. Like, how do I put it? Let's talk about the positives from my end, what I see from it. Fiverr, to me, in the last couple months, I've been able to find. So I've been thinking about starting a Doom project, right? I'm like, I want to write a Doom.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, a Doom EP. And I don't want to make this a big thing. Like, I just want to be the sole writer, and I just want to hire people and just write a record, put it out, and be done with it. And I don't want to go to a studio. I don't want to go to a studio. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I just want to like send it out, send me something back, put it up, and not like a whole lot of like gas and craziness behind it, And I was able to find two musicians, a bass player and a drummer, super talented, super professional. And within a week, dude, I got a track back that sounded fucking massive, dude. And
Awesome.
well, and the thing was, if I were to go to a local studio, pay a producer, get a drummer to write, it would have taken the project and like, I don't know how to put it, man. I feel like it simplifies things, and it actually puts a time frame on stuff.
Totally.
Like, you commission an artist to do that logo, it gives them a warning. It's like, get this done in 10 days.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like a lot of artists have a really hard time with getting shit done, especially myself.
Oh yeah. Like I know that Leonardo da Vinci, it took him the whole reason. For context, the Last Supper, it's in a lot of the reason why it's in kind of bad shape nowadays is because he, instead of using the tried and true method of painting murals, he tried to do something that was quicker because he just wanted to get it over with. And now today we're still dealing with those effects. We have this famous mural, but one that we have to like bend over backwards to try and preserve so that it's still intact.
Right. And that's the thing, man. Like, to me, I've talked to a lot of people about Fiverr, man, and they're always just like, it's really not that big of a deal. There's been websites like that for a long time. I'm like, no, but you just don't get it, dude. Because I do filmmaking too. I do music, and there are some things that I'm not talented at, like color grading.
Inevitably.
Yeah, I'm not a master at. People say you're supposed to master one thing. I'm not a master at anything, dude.
Yeah.
But for people like ourselves, man, like, I'm not sure how good you are at mixing or mastering, but like, you could just pay somebody, like.
Yeah.
Just like the little things.
I mean, yeah. I mean, for me with mixing my stuff, since again everything's myself, sort of like the music I have up right now. It's sort of like the songs I have are like They basically represent me gradually learning how to make stuff. Like the first demo I did, I didn't yet know how to properly mix vocals. I didn't even like put compression on it or anything. So you have instruments, and then you have a line of vocals just kind of like lying on top of it. It definitely sounds pretty rough.
No, but the cool thing is you're not an artist that is ashamed of it and puts it away. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because
yeah,
a lot of artists, they just want to show their best work, and especially with the society we live in, man, we only see the highlights. So like, it's cool to see that you're working on a project, and even the shitty stuff that you're talking about, it's up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like this album is probably like, not counting the 2 interlude tracks, there are 6 songs on here. 3 of them are new ones that I wrote, but 3 are old demo tracks that I re-recorded, but also that I rewrote a good deal. Because looking back, like listening back to a lot of them, like found a lot of the transitions between sections were a little jarring.
Right.
Like my go-to method, if I couldn't figure out how to transition, I would just throw in like a drum fill and just like kick right into the next section, which you can do that like once in a song, but any more than that, it's just like, okay. So, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, whatever works, man. You know, like,
yeah.
It's definitely something that you gotta grow over time, man. I feel like there's a lot of people, especially, I don't know, I have friends, they're extremely good at writing like little snippets, like myself, but then actually constructing it, like songwriting, dude, I'm hiring somebody. I'm fucking.
Well,
like,
it takes.
I'm hiring somebody.
Well, it takes a while, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also have I actually did a song on SoundCloud back when I was like 18, also under the Spaceships Over Glasgow name.
Yeah.
It was and again, that was my first real attempt at writing in this style. So there are like good parts in there, but like, still definitely me learning what does and doesn't sound good. Like I had a clean guitar section in that song, and I tried to have like a spoken word part over it, but I didn't know, again, since I didn't know how to mix vocals and I didn't know how close to stay to the mic. So instead of sounding like a proper spoken word bit, it sounds like I just accidentally wandered into the studio while the mic was on.
Hey man, that's exactly the type of music that I want to listen to.
Well, I mean, like, again, the track is still up. Just go to go to SoundCloud and search Spaceships Over Glasgow, and it's like it'll show up somewhere.
Yeah. I see that Deafheaven is one of your big influences here.
Deafheaven, yeah. They were.
Have you seen them before live?
Oh yeah, I saw them in 2019 on the tour they did with Zeal and Ardor and Baroness. I think it was at Terminal 5 in Manhattan.
Okay.
It was when they were touring Ordinary Corrupt Human Love.
Damn.
Saw them with my dad. Yeah. Saw them with my dad and a friend of mine. But yeah, Deafheaven, they, like, for me musically, and since I first got into extreme metal in 8th grade, actually, and I listened to a lot of like death metal and grindcore, But
Okay.
like when I first heard black metal, I was like, I don't really know about this, since a lot of it sort of sounded samey to me.
Right.
But then but then in Deafheaven, when when I first started listening to them, I was like, oh my god, black metal can sound like this?
Yeah.
And it's funny, retroactively, that made me enjoy normal black metal more, because I went back to like all those black metal artists I initially tried listening to, and I was like, on second listen, this is actually pretty damn good.
Which black metal are you talking about? Are you talking about like Gorgoroth and Dark Funeral, or what
Well,
type?
the first black metal album I ever listened to was Mayhem's De Mysteris Dom Satanas,
Yeah.
because when I first got into the metal lore, Mayhem were obviously the first black metal band that popped up.
Right.
Then after that, I listened to listen. And after that, I listened to a bit of Burzum.
Oh
Then
shit.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, again, like I don't. Yeah, like I don't really listen to it anymore. But he was one of the first black metal artists I
No, I just like
listened
giving
to.
people shit. I just like giving people shit
Uh,
about it. No, he
yeah,
he was a part of all of it, you know.
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
nowadays black metal. It's funny. Like I don't listen to a ton of like straight up black metal, whatever that is, except for Gorgoroth and Demisteris Dom Satanas. Most of the black metal I listen to has like say like Emperor. That's black metal, but it's also super symphonic and progressive.
right.
There, or like Wolves in the Throne Room.
Oh my god. One of my favorites, dude, to see live. Absolutely
I saw
crushing band.
I saw them live this last year with Black Braid.
My gosh, they're so good.
Yeah, it was a killer show too, because they do all their stuff firelit, so the whole room smelt like a campfire.
You're talking about Wolves in the Throne Room, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about the other one.
Yeah, I'm talking about Wolves in the Throne Room.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say because when I saw them in Vegas, it seemed like there was a lot of fire,
Right.
but I'm not exactly sure if it was fully lit by fire.
I mean, it might have just been a venue thing.
Yeah. Well, it was indoors.
like-
It was indoors, so.
Yeah. Yeah, because mine was indoors too, and again, like I saw what I saw, I smelled what I smelled, the wood smoke
Yeah.
too. But yeah, this is a killer show.
Yeah, it was probably freaking great, man. I remember
Yeah.
just being like in awe when I saw them the first time, you know?
They absolutely kill it.
But all right, so besides music, let's talk about art in general. Okay.
Sure
so
thing.
so what do you think has been the biggest struggle and or achievement that you've ever had with art?
Biggest struggle was, I think, well, in terms of like, because like audio art, that's mainly what I do. I think the biggest struggle was like getting the patience to eventually make it. Because like I first tried to learn how to play guitar when I was like, jeez, I must have been like 8. Because, like, there was a lot of music in my house growing up. My dad would play tons of, like, classic rock in the car, like, Neil Young and that sort of stuff. And so, naturally, I wanted to play guitar, and I tried. But I couldn't get into it because, again, I was young. I was kind of cocky. I didn't really want to accept that you had to put in much time. So I eventually switched to bass. because I figured that would be easier. And I still, again, I was having trouble, like, because, like, obviously learning an instrument is frustrating at first, and I just wasn't willing to, like, really, like, put in too much of the work to get better. Then, like, at the start of 8th grade, I don't know, like, what fully happened. There was, like, a light bulb went off in me. I was like, I really want to get good at this. And I don't mind having to practice to get to that. So, like, from that moment on, I was like, there, I love practicing. And then finally I was able to properly get good playing an instrument. I got great at bass. I eventually went back to guitar and taught myself how to do that too. So yeah, so I think definitely, like, building up the patience that you kind of need to get good at playing an instrument, that was my biggest struggle.
Do you
in
think
terms of
do you think that patience do you think patience in general within the society that we live in is one of the biggest problems that we have?
You mean people like people not having enough patience?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like, it's funny. Like I saw this one triple Venn diagram of something that said that if you're making something, then there are, like, 3 qualities: good, fast, or cheap. You can have any 2, but you can't have all 3. You have to pick one to get away with. Because, like, if it's good and fast, then it's going to be expensive. If it's good and cheap, then it's going to be slow. If it's cheap and fast, it's going to be bad.
I like
so you
that.
have to. Yeah.
Do you know what the
So I
Venn
feel like
diagram is called?
No, I can't remember.
Venn
The specific name. Although if you
cheap, fast, good. There it is.
you just type that in.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, it's natural instinct to kind of, like, if you're doing something, to kind of, like, want to, like, see the results quickly.
I
like
actually love this.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It says good, fast, cheap, and then in the middle it says does not exist.
Oh yeah. Like, again. Yeah. And, like, even for me with this music thing, the one I automatically disregard is fast, because, well, this is automatically going to be cheap since I'm doing it in my spare hours. I'm not spending any money on it.
Yeah.
And obviously I want it to be good. So that means I have to disregard the fast part.
Yeah. So you're working with the takes time, right? Am I getting that wrong?
Yeah. I'm working at it takes time.
Okay.
Definitely.
I wonder if this Venn diagram is specifically for I mean it kind of goes along with a lot of life decisions, you know?
I mean, the way I was first introduced to it was, so there's this YouTube channel I like that's actually about there are video essays about film. It's called Every Frame a Painting, and they retired the channel.
Yeah. I've been told about that.
And they retired the channel a little while back, and the guy who made it he said they were going to do a farewell video, but it never materialized. They just uploaded the script on Medium.
Yeah.
And on that script, they were talking about the process of video making, and they had that Venn diagram, and that was how I originally got introduced to it.
Yeah. So, okay, because I remember, like, skimming through this because somebody told me about this. So, from my understanding, they pick apart like scenes, like pick it apart.
Yeah.
Lighting, angles, footing, etc., right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they do that. They also have some videos that is talking about, like, certain like certain creators and like trademarks they do, like they'll have like hold on, let me actually pull it up right now. Let me look at the list. Like they have a video about the Coen brothers and how they do a lot of reverse shot.
Okay.
They have one on a Jackie Chan, how to do action comedy, like, or they have one about Steven Spielberg and his long one takes. But they also have a video since the guy who made the channel is from Vancouver. They have a video called Vancouver Never Plays Itself, which is about how Vancouver is like one of the main cities that film studios go to. So Vancouver has been used to portray like 50 different cities in films.
Ah, okay. You know, the one thing that I remember looking at this channel, you know, all these videos have gotten a lot of traction, but they don't have many. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean again, because these guys, they set. Wait, actually, no, go on.
I mean, it looks like they have maybe 50 videos, but there are so many people that know about this channel.
Yeah, well, I mean, because they started uploading like a decade ago, so they've had time to build up.
Maybe they deleted the ones that didn't get a lot of traction.
Possibly. You know? I mean, they did. I mean, I know that they did like they did retire the channel. Like they've said that they're not going to go back to doing it.
Yeah.
Because it was a collaboration between two people.
Right.
And their life situations changed, and they were like, okay, if both of us aren't going to be able to do this, then that's not really, well, the channel can't really go anymore. Honestly, right. I kind of respect them for stepping away when they felt that the time was right.
Yeah, no, it's definitely important for any creative project, you know.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of old Simpsons, and if any show needed to stop, then it's them.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than like, I'm trying to think of like a bad run on. Damn, I can't say Star Wars. How about like, I don't know, man. SpongeBob is one of those that I think that people rag on, but they somehow come out with new episodes, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch them as much as I did when I was young, but
tons and tons and tons.
Yeah. I mean, if you want like a music thing that's still going on past its prime, I'd say possibly Guns N' Roses, maybe.
Yeah. 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 Motley Crue, man. They're another one. Motley Crue and Kiss.
Jeez. It's funny. Whenever I see Kiss now, it's like you can see every wrinkle beneath the makeup.
Oh, man. Yeah. You know, do you recall seeing like the retiree tour of Kiss and Motley Crue?
I think I might have seen some news stuff about that. I mean,
well, they made like a huge ordeal about like signing off paperwork and like getting it filmed, and you know, they took pictures of everybody signing off.
I mean, I remember Motley Crue straight up did retire for like a year, and then they came back, but then Mick Mars left them over pretty much just because he couldn't stand him anymore, and now he's suing them, which honestly, good on him, because everything I've read, Mick Mars seems like the coolest guy out of all of them.
I know, he's just like punishing himself physically to stay in Motley Crue.
Yeah, especially since he's got those like, especially since he's got that autoimmune disease that's like wrenched his back, so it like,
yeah,
so he's literally going out on touring when he's barely physically able to play guitar.
I give him props though, because some of the best shows or solos I've ever seen live is of him while he's going through that, you know. But
yeah,
I'm not sure. So we're talking about Toronto, right? You're in Toronto right now. I've been told many times that there are very good shows that happen out there. And I've been out in that area a few times. The recent one, I went to Cattle Decapitation.
Oh, sick. Who was playing on that bill with them?
Oh.
You remember?
Castrator, Immolation.
Ooh.
I think that was it. I'm pretty sure that was it.
Because I did see Cattle Decapitation once. They were opening for Suffocation on a Frank Mullins farewell tour.
Yeah, I would have took that, man. I'll take any Cattle Decapitation show.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Toronto. Yeah, Toronto and like good shows. Like, it's funny. I will admit I'm a bit of a homebody. I don't go outside too much if I don't have to. But like shows I've seen here, I like the big shows. Again, I saw Wolves in the Throne Room. I also saw Trivium with a Whitechapel in between the Buried and Me.
That's a interesting freaking show.
Oh yeah,
interesting
and
bill.
Then and then I saw, and this isn't metal, but I saw Porcupine Tree, the prog rock band.
Yeah, of course.
There was no one else on the bill with them. It was just them.
You know, I've only seen bands do that like once in a while, and I wish that was a more predominant thing, you know?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Okay. Especially nowadays, because everybody wants they want to maximize the profit that they can.
Yeah.
You know, there's like 6 bands on a bill. And by the time you get to the headliner, you're just like, holy fuck, man, I'm tired. I'm going home. I'll stay for 2 songs. You know?
Like, I will say, it can, having multiple bands on a bill, that can definitely work. Like, the best overall show I've ever been to was Slayer on their first farewell tour, when they had opening for them Behemoth, Anthrax, and Lamb of God.
Yeah, that's a big show.
There was also Testament opening for them, but I missed their set because, well, let's be honest, I'm there for Slayer and Lamb of God, to be honest.
Yeah, no, Lamb of God. It's funny you said that, man, because 2 things. Lamb of God is one of my favorites, and number 2, I have a picture of me and Randy. He was like walking out or in of the New York City subway, and I was like, yo, Randy, man, let's take a picture. And he's like, fuck, dude, here we go. But he's super chill, man, for being like for being at the status that they are right now. They're he's still keeping a level head, you know?
Oh, yeah. I saw the Factor Fiction that he did with Loudwire, and yeah, he is a super calm dude.
Yeah. I don't know, man. For him, I feel like once you get to that point where you're like, your band has already made it to that level.
Right.
You don't have this like angsty. I mean, look at Corey Taylor, man. Like,
oh yeah,
Iowa, man. He was like super angsty, super in your face, loud, obnoxious, and nowadays he's just like kind of quiet, reserved, and like
it's like he's burned out all of his anger, and now he's just more content to be like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, I guess I'll go on tour. I'm really just looking forward to like see my wife and my kids.
Oh yeah. Yeah, getting to middle age mellows you out, from what I heard. I also think for Corey, like, I don't know if he was still like using drugs around the time of Iowa, but I think that for a lot of those rock stars. I think that sobriety can definitely calm them down.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I would assume that he was at least drinking, man. He
Oh yeah, especially because the stories I've heard about Iowa, just how miserable of a recording process that was.
yeah.
Because so like it wouldn't surprise me if he was just like actively drinking scotch in the studio.
Yeah, he's actively just like doing lines and
Yeah.
freaking losing his mind.
Just of course, I just feel bad for Ross Robinson, the producer, because he has to sit there at the machines and be like, "Okay, come on, get back into the booth. Let's try and get a good take."
Yeah. And that's the thing with studios, man. You got to like get the right take. And to get that,
Oh yeah.
it's more than just the talent, it's the emotions, it's the the mind, the mind battle.
Yeah. Like one thing, the mind battle. Like one thing I've had when recording my stuff, because again, like I have full control over deciding what goes onto a song, but like there are times where like I'm trying to record a riff section and it's just not happening. Then like I literally have to tell myself like, okay, go work on another section, do that, take a little break, then come back and do this. Because if you just try to keep on going at this now, you're just gonna get more and more frustrated, and it's just not gonna sound good.
Yeah, you're just going to quit music for like the next month.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Yeah, I mean that's how it goes, man. I feel like that's the biggest battle of trying to take on a project by yourself, like there's a lot of positives in having creative control. And for me with music, it's got to be like that or I lose it. Or I just don't feel connected, But there's also like that external, I don't want to call it validation, but there's some sort of it's nice to have somebody on the outside give you some sort of direction or some sort of like pat on the back of like, all right, it's getting somewhere, but you need to work on this,
I actually, it's funny. This past summer, I did a 5-week program at Berklee College of Music.
Wow.
And I had like once a week I had a one-on-one like lesson thing, and my teacher was this guy David Marvuglio, who's on the staff there. He was like the one metal guy in the faculty, so I was thrilled to have him as my teacher. And our like sort of like lessons, literally, since I was working on some of the early stuff at this time, I would bring him the tracks, play them for him, and be like, okay, what do you think? What do I need to fix?
Yeah, what'd he say?
Well, like, I don't know how to like, since I don't have the original like tracks, like what they sounded like at the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to discuss, but like he told me like, you don't, one thing he said is that you don't have to have the guitar and like kick drum both playing the same rhythms. Like you can have the guitar doing like 16th notes, but have the bass drum doing eighths. That provides like a contrast, sort of.
Right.
I'm saying this all from memory.
Right.
So I don't remember, but even like the song we played here, drowning on dry land. Like when I first had that, because of course that's the main chord progression, like the intro riff, that's like those power chords, and then the lead line. When I first wrote that song, the lead guitar line was just sticking with the root note was just like playing the octave of the root note for the chords, which That was all right, but Dave told me, he said that, hey, you can like, hey, you can like do like an ascending sort of thing when like the chords descend. It's like to like counter it.
Right. You can have it like do the reverse, but actually it works in your favor.
Yeah, and that helped the rest of the album because again, with the songs with the songs I re-recorded from the demo tracks. Once I got the advice from him, I was like listening to those songs, being like, okay, what's something I could do differently here?
Right. No, I think that's super good advice. I don't know. What was your experience like at Berkeley? What do you? Well, first off, do you consider yourself like a very technical music connoisseur?
It's you mean like terms like technical skill or like musical knowledge?
Well, let me put it to you like this: like a mixture of both. You know, like
Okay.
it wouldn't. I'm curious if that school just takes on people that have pure talent.
My thing was that because again, it was just a summer program, so if you paid the amount, they would take you in, and they had like placement tests to determine like what classes you would do. It was a placement test for like technical skill, and then one for music theory knowledge. I barely know any theory, so I
would have
I
failed.
didn't do too hot on that. Yeah, but for technical, because I went for that on bass guitar, because like as much guitar as I do play, evidently on this album, I still do consider myself a bass player, above all. But yeah, I went there and yeah, it was definitely interesting because there weren't a ton of metal dudes. Most of the people I talked to are actually jazz nerds.
Of course,
Funnily
dude.
enough.
Yeah, of course.
And I definitely, again, I have a tremendous respect and admiration for jazz. Like my record collection, I have like Jaco Pastorius, Charles Mingus, John Coltrane. But for me, at least, it's definitely a sometimes genre. Like, if I listen to it and I'm just not in the right mood, I'm like, yeah, this is not doing it for me.
Right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense that there's a lot of jazz musicians there because it's very, I don't want to say technical, but it's astute music, you know? You have
Oh, yeah.
you have to know your shit.
Yeah.
Put it to you straight, man.
Yeah. Technically, it's like as far as technical skill goes, to answer the other part of the question from earlier, like it's funny because again, I'm much better at bass guitar than I am at guitar. Like I can, my placement test song I did, "Wrathchild" by Iron Maiden.
Nice, good pick.
For guitar, yeah, but for guitar, say this: I'm a great rhythm guitarist, definitely. Like, as far as leads go, like I still haven't got the hang of like sweep picking. Like,
yeah,
really
you don't need
fast
to, man. That shit's overrated.
Yeah, and that's why, like, on this album, there aren't really trying to think back to it. There aren't really like solos because like I know like what I'm best at, and I'm good at like songwriting, riff creating, like layering different guitar stuff. That's what I'm good at, I feel. So I focus on that instead of having like shredding guitar solos.
Yeah, of course. Well, you gotta. For me, it's the fitting in the pocket, man. If you can like,
Oh yeah.
well, it's not even that. Well, it's a mixture of that and just like creating a mood. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of music that is extremely technical, but does it actually make you feel something inside, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
That's my thing with music.
yeah. Yeah. Like something like, if you want technical music, there's something like Arch Spire.
Oh yeah.
You know those guys?
Of course.
Like, those, funny, it's funny, when I first listened to them, I was like, what is this shit? This has no feel. It's just speed. But then I saw them live because they were opening for Carnifex on their tour they did with Oceano, Winds of Plague.
Yeah.
I saw them live. It's somehow just like seeing them on stage playing it, I was like, oh my god, I get it now.
Yeah, that's what it takes, man.
So yeah, I feel like I love technical metal music. Like the first death metal band I really dug was Death.
Yeah,
And
me too.
in my room back in New York City, I still have a Sound of Perseverance banner.
Yeah.
Like that's.
Yeah, I just
So,
sold
like,
mine.
Did you at least get a good cost for it?
Oh, I sold it to a friend. I'm just laughing that your favorite, well, not your favorite, but your introduction band was Death, and you had that flag because that was me too.
Yeah. Like death metal, like it's like the first stuff I tried to listen to with death metal. Because of course, like obviously the first death metal band I ever heard of was Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah,
So,
man, that's that Buffalo roots, man.
yeah, before they fucked off to Florida Traders.
Yeah,
But I first tried listening to Cannibal Corpse, and for someone who's just getting into death metal, it's really not.
Yeah, that's not a very
not a
good
great place to
entryway.
But then I listened to, so remember, it was a Lack of Comprehension off the Human album.
Yeah.
I listened to that, and I was like, okay, I could see myself digging this genre. So then I just like devoured every Death album.
That's good.
And yeah.
For me, it was Scream Bloody Gore on the iPod.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. I went to like my best friend in middle school's house, and his dad had it on CD, and I burned it. And I remember putting it on my iPod and then looking at the cover and just being like, fuck, dude, this rocks.
Intriguing.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think that's like the perfect introduction to extreme music, man. Death.
Yeah.
You know? But
Definitely.
Chuck Schuldiner, man. Rest in peace, that dude.
God, I still remember when I still remember the first time I heard "Voice of the Soul" off "Sound of Perseverance," and because when I first got into Death, I was really, really into them. When I listened to that song, I was like, "This is so sad."
Oh, of course it is.
And Chuck's dead too.
Yeah, of course.
And so I genuinely got into moment. I got really emotional about that.
Hey, doesn't that suck, man? When you get into get into bands, and you're like, "Fuck, they're dead, man. I'll never be able to see them."
Yeah,
it sucks.
That was me the first time I ever listened to Typo Negative too.
Yeah, that's another one. You're just like, fucking bullshit, man.
I mean, to be fair, they did do the right thing, like not continuing after Peter Steele died.
Yeah, that wouldn't be right. That wouldn't be right at all.
Yeah.
But right on, man. Well, I think this was a successful episode.
Yeah. I mean, I still have my raw audio recording on this end, so like I'll email you the file if you end up needing it. Yeah, I have my raw file too. Yeah, I have it on a. I'm actually still running it right now. I have it on a QuickTime player, so and sending over that file, that's no problem at all. Want me to? You want me to stop recording that now and send it to you? Okie doke.